Hello, people of the tube, my name is Modding Machine, and today I will be making a little bit of an unusual video. As you have probably seen from the content of my channel, I am a developer, mostly of Minecraft data packs, but as you will soon find out, I am also a video game developer. Not a super great one, but a developer nonetheless. I recently participated in Ludum Dare 47, which the theme for that was Stuck in a Loop. The Ludum Dare is a game development jam where you have 72 hours to create and publish a video game centered around a theme. I did this competition in 72 hours with a couple of my friends, Skeleton Sniper 9, aka SS9, Kai Extreme, and Love to Code 999. Links to their YouTube channels will be in the description. It all started off quite normally. When the theme was released, we immediately started brainstorming. And since all of us were not quite adults yet, we had to hop off every once in a while to take care of family stuff or eat dinner. We gathered a ton of great ideas, from theme park tycoons to racing around in a loop-shaped racetrack, but we really wanted to include a story and a somewhat deeper meaning to our game. SS9 had an idea where something tragic happens, and you go back in time to fix it, but you fail as many times as you need to because you've been stuck in a time loop. Now, there were a few key points to this idea that could potentially end it. It gets boring quick. Reliving the same moment in time is boring. To fix this, we could add a twist where the player swaps realities every time they fail and something is different. And as the game progresses, the changes start becoming much more evident. But this quickly became a problem when we realized that we literally have 72 hours to make this game, not to mention subtracting, sleeping, eating, and family stuff. So in the end, I personally had more like 34 hours. After a few more painful hours of brainstorming, we decided that to incorporate a meaningful ending, we had to include romance. That went as far as you would expect when we realized that we would have to center the game around a pretty dumb love story. Instead, through lots of brainstorming, product of a romance-themed game, we decided upon what we have made, A Duck in Time. The story of our game starts out with you, a normal everyday businessman who works at a duct tape factory. Not a duct tape factory, but a duck tape factory, which designs tape that is used to hunt ducks by taping them to trees. On your way to the warehouse, a chasm opens up and you suddenly die. But that is not nearly the end of the story. You wake up moments before and see yourself fall into that chasm. You kind of freak out and decide to go check out the maintenance room at the back of your factory, which happens to be at the end of a long chain of rooms. Here is where the game starts. You enter the storage room to find a gun, not an AK-47 or a shotty. This is a duck gun, a new prototype your company is designing for launching tape at ducks instead of just trap. You pick up this gun, and through a series of rooms you find a boss. After defeating it, you travel into a room with a big red button. Dun dun dun! You really have no choice but to press this big red button, and spoilers, the world explodes into a supernova. I'm not nearly done with this game and planned on releasing a finished version of it with more gameplay and story. But before that, you can download/play in your browser through the link in the description. If you are a participant in the Ludum Dare yourself and would like to leave a rating on the Ludum Dare page, that will also be in the description. Now to the development process. It started off quite nicely where I got some basic movement and enemy AI working. It was quite simple and didn't include any pathfinding. But we did hit some major issues with GitHub and the collaboration program we were using to transfer files. When I tried to upload the project at first, it looked like it erased 3 hours of work. Thankfully, I was able to recover it. Later that day, I ended up not being able to upload at all, where Love to Code 999 had to help me figure it out. And that's another thing. Love to Code was originally going to be a coder too, and that's why we decided on such a big project. Big mistake. Love to Code uses a Linux OS that offers him complete control over his OS, which is great for everything except things that require a lot of GUI. The day before, we had been trying to get Unity to work on his PC. After about 30 different installations of various versions of Unity, we managed to get one who wouldn't give him a critical error when he booted it up. However, there was one important detail that I had overlooked. His PC was about 10 years old and couldn't actually run Unity's complex scripts. So in the end, I ended up having to do it all: the coding, the level design, the animation, and anything else that involved Unity. Thankfully, he was still able to help us by working on sound design, which I'm really glad he worked on because the music and sounds in our game are amazing. By the end of the first day, we had basic controls, movements, and enemies. So then all we had to do was add textures, sound, level design, bug fixes, dialogue, and a parallax, not to mention a few other things, all of which required some level of code to implement. On Sunday, I added and animated all of the textures Kai Extreme and SS9 had made the previous night and started working on a parallax. I wish I had more footage during the jam, but I was so rushed for time I didn't think I could dedicate some of that time to record. By the end of day 2, I was not in a good place. I had a slightly broken parallax that wouldn't repeat when you hit the end, and pretty much the first level. This is mostly due because there are a ton of little knickknacks that show up when you're trying to make something big easy, like level design. Monday, the last day. This was by far the hardest day because I was making really important decisions like which bits of story to include and what to change to passages of dialogue. In the end, I think it turned out wonderfully. I woke up early to get working on that broken parallax, and I managed to get an infinite scroller working. However, I goofed up really bad. When I merged the scripts, there were a few things wrong with the parallax that I didn't even notice till the release. It was moving the wrong way. It should be moving behind you and not in front of you as you move. And the farthest layer is supposed to barely move, not the closest. Something I definitely want to fix after the jam when I make edits. Right about at noon, things were not looking great. We had 4 hours left and I was sweating in my pants. I needed a nap and a shower. I had 7 levels done, most of the gameplay, and I was about to work on sound implementation, which I was expecting to take 3 hours because I had never done it before. Thankfully, I figured it out and implemented all of the sounds in about 20 minutes. The next thing on my terrifyingly long list was to make explosive barrels. After a quick bit of research, I decided not to, mostly because there were no physics simulations for 2D explosions, which would not have been too hard as I know how to create it from my Minecraft experience, at least a way that doesn't include predicting any trajectory or motion. But I ended up not adding it anyway, mostly because of the rush for time. With 5 minutes on the clock, I clicked build. We uploaded our project just in time. We had to cut back on a lot of various parts, but we managed to include all the story through dialogue or animations. If you enjoyed watching this behind the scenes of the Ludum Dare 47 and want to play this game for yourself, a link will be in the description. Now, I still want to complete this game, add more story, add more characters, and more gameplay. And then I'll release the final version to itch.io and maybe Steam, depending on how well the statistics go. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really helps me know what content to make and motivates me to make new data packs and now video games. A huge shout out to all my friends who made this jam a success. SS9, Kai Extreme, and Love to Code. Anyway, see y'all next time. Goodbye.